the world. The artist is also known for the scandal he touched off at the Biennale some years ago, when he displayed some painted sheep there and angered both artists and societies for the protection of animals. The Venice Biennale is where the uniqueness of Israeli artists is felt most, their constant confrontation with the ancient past and the new and burgeoning world. If 2 years ago the Israeli pavilion displayed a hothouse for advanced growing of vegetables, this year the curator Gideon Ofrat went further and took to Venice the archives of the National Library in Jerusalem in an attempt to juxtapose art with the written word. The three artists who displayed works each related to the subject differently. Uri Saig disagreed and built a booth in which art aspires outwards towards nature. Yehoshua Neustein wrapped the pavilion in plants and broke through the roof using a huge crane. And David Grossman simply sent a fax of stories with images from his books, known for their connections to Venice. All three dealt with themes that had nothing to do with war or peace or with Arabs and Jews. You see changes around. There are activities and events bringing together Israeli and Arab culture, such as the Peace Festival in Jaffa. It starts a little strained and artificial, but in the end the poetry sweeps on, the music is absorbed, and one more barrier is broken. One of the most loved singers in Israel is Ahinoam Nini, who calls herself Noah abroad. When she appeared before the Pope with an audience of more than 100,000 in St. Peter's Square, she chose to sing Ave Maria. It aroused mixed reactions of disapproval and sympathy. Some said she was betraying her Jewishness with a hymn like Ave Maria and in the forum where she sang. Others said she was devoting her voice for an idea, an ideal.
I'm aware that that music and singing can be a great contributing factor to these things. Even though music, I don't think that music by itself can bring on change, but it can definitely add once the process has begun. I mean, once politicians are speaking and people have to start speaking to each other, music can give people hope on a very personal and accessible basis to help them pass the difficult times until the good times arrive. Now, I think, in our process, we are in a difficult time, a time of transition from the agreements that are signed to the actual physical peace and understanding between people. In this time of transition, music is instrumental. What moves me, what excites me, you know, what can I sing honestly, you know, because I can't fake it, you know, otherwise it comes out really bad. And things that are close to my heart. I think that issues like love and personal relationships are very, very common with songwriters. But also I try to go go into other areas as well. Try to deal with politics, but not on a very blunt way. On a deeper level. Like the Ave Maria. I mean, I think it's a song that is accessible to everybody. But for us, it's a real prayer for peace in our country, in our land, with the things that we have to deal with every day here in Israel.
The play Gorodish achieved a great success in the theater. The play is about the rise and fall of an army general following the Yom Kippur War, which shattered the myth of the invincibility of the Israel Defense Forces and its generals. It was something which would not have passed quietly before the peace process. Where did you learn to salute? Go out and come back in.
Yes, sir.
Why is she ugly? She's a good secretary. That's better.
The area command rabbi is here.
He should have been here 8 minutes ago. Good. Show him in. Don't offer him coffee. Ugly. Tayyib. A druze is a druze. Good material. Until a year ago, he worked for a Syrian general, and today he's helping me. He even learned to read Hebrew. And you want to hear? Ishaq.
חשופים בשריח עלה דגנרט, לא למדת ניקוד? עלה קרב חייב תמשיך להתאמן. מה אני אגיד לכם? יום יפה.
Everywhere we went, we left behind us burned shells of tanks exploding and scorched corpses. We looked straight in the face of death, and he shamed our eyes. We didn't look at our dear ones who went up in flames with their steel vehicles. We didn't stand by the blood, and in the heat of our anger we brought death with our weapons and with all our force to the very heart of the enemy.
In the past few years, the theater has undergone several political revolutions. At certain times, I joined in because I believed that it was important. But the situation today is so serious, so sensitive, and so very equivocal that dealing with politics on stage has become incredibly difficult. Not that we're afraid, it's simply difficult. And we also don't really know what it is that we want to say.
You can also find another attitude to the conflict in the theater, a wish to understand the other side. At the Acre Theater Festival, a play appeared which won first prize called Naomi. The entire performance is a monologue by an Arab woman of her feelings, habits, stories, hopes. The actress and playwright simply studied Arab women, researched them, and got to know them, and proceeded to teach the Israeli public to know them. The play's success here and abroad proves not only the quality of the performance, but also a new openness in the audience, a wish to know the Arabs, the former foe, to break stereotypes and grow closer to our neighbors.
למה יש אנשים אסור להם להכיר אותי בגלל אני בסכנה? למה אני בסכנה? אני בסכנה בגלל אני בדואית. לא בגלל אני בדואית אני בסכנה. אני בסכנה בגלל אני בדואית ואני ברחת מן המשפחה שלי. אני מהערב, עליית פרשטה. לא, יותר טוב אני.
החמיפה המוצלחת? נעם. לא תסתיר את התחת? תחת. בוקר טוב לכם אדונים. סבח אל חיר.
Another great step forward is seen in a different performance, perhaps the most interesting project in the country's theater in recent times. The play, Romeo and Juliet, ostensibly by Shakespeare, but actually a combination of two theaters, the Jerusalem Khan and the Palestinian Kasaba, using Arabic and Hebrew. Romeo is an Arab, son of a wealthy family, and Juliet comes from a Jewish family. The conflict between the Montagues and the Capulets is extremely well matched, as is the message projected by Shakespeare of the tragedy of the lovers, victims of hatred, reaching from Verona to Israel and the Palestinians.
אתה חייב ללכת. עוד לא בוקר. היה זה רק זמיר, לא עפרוני אשר קולו החריד את אוזניך.
עפרוני ולא זמיר. ראי, אור יום קנאי מסמיק בין העננים, שם, במזרח. גבעו נרות הלילה. יום צעיר עומד על בהונות בראש הרים. אלך לחיות. אם יישאר, אמות.
רשע! שתית? לא הותרת טיפה לרפואה. שפתיך חמימות. קולות. אז הקצר.
The mixed audiences, also emotionally involved, simply loved the Romeo and Juliet of the Middle East.
All these things are gripping, and it is a period in which there can be unusual cultural and intellectual changes of identity. I think it's a wonderful process.
Any ceremony, any new treaty that is signed appears the most important, the most promising, but without doubt the most interesting. Handshakes, the slight hesitation by Yitzhak Rabin and Arafat, were so moving. Both adherents and opponents wondered if they weren't dreaming. That picture that was broadcast over and over again took a lot of time to penetrate people's consciousness, and then the public split into two segments, for and against, the most apocalyptic and the most optimistic. The process continues. Unending difficulties, blood, tears, but it continues. And art continues to accompany it. Everything is a hint here, a spark there. It remains only to wait and observe the known meanwhile, to search for eternal significance in eternal creativity, and to build palaces and mansions like this opera house in Tel Aviv. The gifted conductor performing Verdi's Nabucco, perhaps in one of its greatest productions. The Slaves' Chorus by the Waters of Babylon arouses the conviction that it's impossible not to find analogies and hints. The mixture of slavery today and then, each according to his beliefs. And art is art. What is good remains. Perhaps art echoes what is happening around, but the product is apparently detached from time. The political changes can provide new and different themes, but the real artistic quality comes only from the artist.